So here we go again. Temperature outside is actually 90 degrees centigrade today, which means I can justifiably use my towel, which is now the car towel. Come from uni, went for a walk in the Central Park. Not its own name, it's called Tiergarten, but it is still the Central Park of this city. I walked a solid kilometre in, I believe, less than 11 minutes, averaging about, 5.7 kph, which is nice. I set out with the aim of walking a K, and I did, which is quite pleasant. Where I'm currently halted is reduced traffic area, so there shouldn't be any movement of vehicles really. Everyone has the same priority. The entire area is pedestrian. You can walk wherever you want as a pedestrian. But the speed limit for motor vehicles is also walking pace, which means it's frequently defined as 7 to 15 kph, and the highest definition I've seen included up to 21 kph, which means most everyone who drives by me today will be speeding, just as this car coming up the road is. Because the moment you go into second gear, you're speeding. Like, it's quite simple, you know. Drinking the car drink because the ginger beer is now empty. This parking spot was a mess to get into just because opposite there's an obstacle, well, a tree with ram protection for the tree, which has been rammed a lot, so it's bent. But the ram protection for the tree is too low for me to see it while backing into here, which means I actually had to get out and make sure I weren't going to back the front end into ram protection for a tree. The joke is the tree I can see perfectly fine because the tree go taller than a couple of foot off the ground. But the ram protection don't. You know, it work really. I've not been productive much at all recently. The one plant that I've been alive not that long ago is still alive. The seed I was sprouting is still work in progress, is not quite sprouted. Wow. Car next to me just drove out the parking lot and it's definitely not fit for the road, but who am I to judge? I am not in the position to judge, so wow. Yeah, so my plant's going, at least one of them. I'm hoping the second one too. I did repot that yesterday just because I hadn't seen any of it for a long time, and it did manage to grow a bit more. I'm hoping I didn't repot it too far down. It should be about the right position, but I'll figure it out. I mean, this is after all my fourth and fifth attempt. I'm quite happy I got both regular feminized and automatic feminized in the first place, because I'm now growing just the feminized, or trying to grow the feminized. And I believe that'll give me more control, which means I also don't have to have the plant grow as big as it could, which obviously means less harvest, but I'm not doing it for harvesting anything. I'm doing it out of principle because I can. More than that, last session 113, I believe it was. I just feel I owe the responsibility of growing to past generations that grew, but we're not allowed to. And again, I'm starting to think more and more people don't care remotely as much about the rules as I do, which I believe to be the fabric, the construct of society. Then again, down the road, a cyclist just took another cyclist right of way, you know. What's the point of even wondering? Like, I don't get this. Oddly enough, where I am right now, it would not be legal to smoke a joint just because there's a kindergarten across the road. I'd have to go behind my car to be allowed to smoke one, you know. The thing is, obviously, just as alcohol, smoking pot is not aligned with operating a motor vehicle or heavy machinery in general. And if I have to choose, I'll choose a motor vehicle, which means I just don't smoke pot. Then again, I have on multiple instances considered switching to CBD from tobacco. Today I'm actually making an active effort to reduce my smoking, which means I've had single-digit cigarettes thus far. In the recent past, I've managed on just about any distance I drive to only have one cigarette, which is reasonable. Well, none is reasonable, but one is a decent compromise considering I was smoking 4 to 5 beforehand on the same distance. So yeah, I guess that worked. And though the entire road is only walking pace limit, in front of me 2 bicycles just went on the pedestrian path, which is still only for pedestrians, not for vehicles, not even on motorised vehicles. I bet you I could just sit somewhere with half an hour's surveillance and just comment it. If you want that, drop a comment and tell me so, because it's more effort and I don't like the hurdle of effort. Having just stated I'm trying to smoke less, I'm probably going to smoke one shortly because, well, why not, you know. That's what I do. I talk, think and smoke. I'm just down the road from where I intend on playing board games in a bit. The appointment we got is in 36 minutes time, so I'm not in a hurry to get over with this here, but 36 would put me at this being one of the longest instances of me talking to myself, so shouldn't be too worried. I am going to have to pay for parking for the first 2 hours, and I'm going to basically spend all of the little cash I have remaining just on the evening. But apparently I'm human, and humans need that kind of stuff. And it's not like it's an expensive evening, it's just I have very little cash remaining. Like liquid notes. And it's going to be at most a tenner for playing board games. It's €2 an hour for up to 5 hours, and after that is a flat rate of 5 hour equivalent €10. And hot drinks, snacks and waffles are £2.50 a pop. And I'll probably spend 15, 17.50 or $20, and 2 tens is what I got remaining in my wallet at this time. So I'll be very non-liquid. But with this here, I deem it worth it, just because in the past I've had really good laughs with this kind of stuff. Some of these people for sure. I know 2 are going to be there who've been there in the past. And it's just living in the moment. You don't think about before or after, or what you got to do for uni. Oh no, I got to get my thesis supervisor confirmed first off from themselves and then from uni. You don't got to worry about that because you just live in the moment, play the board game, and figure out the game theory behind it, how to optimally play it. Of course, I still got to figure out something. I can't just sit there and play a game stupidly. Funny how that work, really. Yeah, I'm looking forward to board games, waffles. They have white cocoa, which I believe has nothing to do with coca, but I'll get one of those because I can afford it, and well, only just. It's worth the money to me, even though I have this little money. Take quite a while to drink, so I might as well, you know. I believe it's mostly lactose and sugar, but it tastes alright. And till the day I figure out by taste what it actually is, I'll call it white cocoa because that's what they call it on the menu. I mean, it could be albino cocoa plants, but I suspect those are significantly more expensive than being able to get a drink for $2.50. Like, that's not going to work. Can't imagine someone harvesting just albino cocoa, but that might be a thing, who knows. If you're doing that, tell me. earlier, at a roundabout, the central roundabout within the central park. Um, I had a guy look at me real wonky at the traffic lights, and I have a suspicion why, but I don't know, and I can't look into his head. Surprise. He was at the car to my right behind, and just two traffic lights before, so one traffic light before turning into the roundabout, I was in the left turn lane, he was in the right turn lane, I turned left, and he basically cut me off, so I just gave him a short honk. And then after that, he proceeded with about half the speed limit down the road, so I decided this is not worth it. Switched lanes left, accelerated to the speed limit, pulled in front of him with plenty of distance to spare, more than the safety margin recommended for 25 kph. And then went in the right lane. So I actually went in the far left just to go to the right, but I wasn't hindering anyone. I did not endanger anyone. So I don't see a problem with that, but perhaps he was surprised other people could operate motor vehicles with 50 kph if he can only do it with 25. I wouldn't know. Like, people are a mystery to me. I would say you lot, but you lot usually comes off kind of judgmental. And I'm actually going to reposition the car for ease of leaving later, because the car in front of me, which is parallel to the road, is going to leave shortly. So because this is a reduced traffic area, one is also allowed to park on the left of the road. Doesn't matter which direction you're headed, you can park on both sides of the road, but you can only park in marked areas. The vehicle in front is in fact in a marked parking area. I can see lines on the floor, which makes it legal to park there, and I prefer that because it's going to allow me a quicker exit later. I don't have to worry about navigating around a car being parked there, and then a shorter car can park here. Why not, you know? And just down the road, a car in a similar spot just left, but I'll take the spot in front of me because that's next to fire entrance for fire services, which means I can just drive out. I don't got to worry about parallel unparking, which is, I guess, an odd way. Actually, I'll be right back. See you in a moment, because now I'm going to repark before another car grabs that spot. Yeah, okay, that went surprisingly smoothly. As I was in a parking lot with the idea of giving way, parked on the side of the road that is, I was rather paranoid the car driving by was going to go into the spot. But surprise, they did not. They were just obeying the speed limit, which is a pleasant surprise because most people can't manage. Then again, comparison is the end of all joy. Funny how that works. I've noticed I'm doing more of these, but I guess that's because I got more shit on my mind. I don't know. Or I just got a lot of spare time. I don't think I got spare time, but I got time in between appointments, which I'm here. In a week, I'll have an appointment with my lawyer to see if we'll sue the government for me to be more disabled. I'm actually starting to think I might not want to do that. Just because it's going to cost my insurance a load of money, which then put one in one's insurance good graces. And I wouldn't be surprised if it don't lead to any better result. So kind of wanted an appointment with the lawyer to consult, but if they don't deem it very likely we'll succeed, I'll probably not sue the state. The government. Which is, I guess, a funny way of putting it, but that's how it is, I guess. This is a huge low traffic area, like a lot of area here without traffic. By the way, interesting fact, now that I've reparked to 3 meters further, well, at least my sitting position is 3 meters away from where I was just now, I would legally be allowed to smoke a joint right here. Which is funny, but I got a metal wall and the back windows are tinted, so I'm not visible from the kindergarten property. It's funny how that works, eh? It's fucking nuts. sometimes I am surprised society managed to exist as it does, even though there is so many people who behave as they do, who are alleged, at least. Well, I don't think they're just alleged. I think they actually are, but I'm going to allege them of being members of society. And a lot of them completely neglect the structure that is supposed to hold society together. Yes, of course, there is morality for that, but there is also legality, which is supposed to be oriented on morality, and it doesn't appear to align with a lot of people's. The thing I find funny is, hell, when you applied for driver's license, when you signed up for driving school, you stated you would obey the rules of the road, and if they've been changed since, first off, you'd agreed to that ahead of time, and second off, you will have been able to vote, which means you can't blame anyone for the rules that have come since you got your license. At least for cars, I guess. For bikes, it could be a bit dodgy, but you have to be an adult to operate a motor vehicle by yourself, a car, or bigger. And if you're an adult, you can also vote, which means at that point you can't blame it on anyone but yourself, or yourself being too big of a minority in the system we call democracy. Funny way of thinking of it, I guess, but that's how it is. I mean, I'm not too fond of democracy, but I don't have any better alternatives, to paraphrase Churchill. It's odd how it worked, but I don't see a better way, considering humans as a variable. I mean, optimally, you want to have unbreakable rules that are true, such as do not be a dick, and everyone would just obey them, and everything would go smoothly. If there's something not covered by rules, it's covered by morality. Or you can adapt the rules to then cover that, but that's risking building a big brick wall on some very small bricks. On a very lousy foundation. Yeah, funny how that works. I'm actually really looking forward to the waffles at the board games place. They do fresh waffles. They have one of them 180-degree flip waffle irons, so they got some hollow space in them, which I guess means you get the saturation of having eaten it, but you don't actually eat anything inside of it. They offer them with jam, nougat cream, and something else, maybe sugar, but I like the jam variation. I mean, I even like jam in the sense of jazz. I like jam. Admittedly, if they had marmalade, I'd probably choose marmalade, but at that point it's subtle differences, you know. Then again, subtlety matter, at least to me. To many they appear to not matter. Some people might look at me funny sitting here in my car talking to myself, parked on the left hand side of the road as to the direction I'm driving, sitting in the passenger seat talking to the dash. It's all legal, and I don't see nothing wrong with it, so might as well, you know. That car was too fast, and the car coming the other way was too fast as well. I mean, it's just nuts. All these people are supposed to have licenses for operating motor vehicles. Then again, I know people who are more than double my age who've had thousands of percent of time on the road as to what I did, who've never had their licenses checked, and if they manage to get away with it, I wonder how many regular people just drive around without a license. Like, I like to believe there is none, but I deem that highly unlikely for some odd reason. Guess that odd reason is experience. I know at least one person who have operated motor vehicles on a frequent basis without license. By saying I know, I mean one of my own people. One person I discovered that was not shown to me by another person. Funny how that works. They're as possessive as my human. I discovered them. And the joke is, I could probably get away with parking indefinitely without a parking ticket, but it's not worth doing the wrong, first off for the pain, and second off for the risk of getting caught. But I don't actually think there's much risk of getting caught, because the plot only have an hour and a bit once I left the car to actually give any tickets for me having been here. And even then, they'd either have to stick around for more than 3 minutes to know I'm not just halting, or they'd have to come back later. Once they come back later, I could have halted then and returned to the car and parked it proper, because I was unloading something, or loading, to be fair. I mean, theoretically, one can halt indefinitely for loading and unloading. I'm sorry for faces of people being seen as reflections, so I hope they weren't enough to identify them. Oh damn, guess I got to get some flags for future to kill the reflection of that window. There's always a good hint of where I am though. You can see if there's some green or some white houses or whatever. Oh no. Yeah, so I'm probably just going to have one more smoke, which means I'll have 2 more smokes before starting to play board games. Once I start at that, it's going to be less than a smoke per hour. Cigarettes per hour, a metric. My global average have always been below 1 cigarette per hour. Then again, my waking hours are not none, so are not none. My non-waking hours are not none. My sleeping hours, so language. First I was real happy about are not none, and then I realised I'd actually formulated the negative of what I meant to. Yeah, but my sleeping hours are not none, and have not been, so my waking hours cigarettes per hour average have been above 1 for most of the past few years. That's a bit odd, I guess. Oh, with the car, I almost forgot. Yesterday after uni, I went by my place of internship. Turns out there wasn't nothing I could do inventory-wise for the moment. But because that place got a few people who are rather automotive enthusiasts round, I actually took the time and unbuilt my reg plate illumination that was dodgy on the right hand side and fixed it up proper. All it took was a bit of solder and some contact spray, because the contacts were bad. They frequently do go bad, and I don't think anyone beside me actually care that my right hand side of my reg plate went illuminated. But I care. And now I no longer have to worry, because now it works again. If I switch on my lights, I actually got all the lights in the back at this time. I haven't actually direct sight tested my brake lights in quite a while, but I have indirect sight, so just I guess bounce checked my brake lights quite recently, just when parking and so on. Even when going to the tea house, I guess. I haven't been to the tea house as such proper in a while, but I have been helped the owner Transport Summit. So even there, I can just check it in the reflection of the window. Pleasant stuff. I'd like to think people tell you if you have lights that aren't working. Sadly, I very well know that people do not, because I've followed cars for 20 minutes of driving, trying to get to the position where I can tell the driver about their lights not working. And the entire time no one else attempts to, even though others would have the opportunity to and the knowledge. Which I guess means I'm special. Surprise. I am not normal. Funny how that works, yeah. Ooh, I had something in my eye. And I'm getting rather smoked out. I should probably open up the window. Just realised I'm really smoked out. Oh, and I got the steering lock on. There we go. So now I've got fans and a window open. So I'm not going to be smoked out no more. And because it is a reduced traffic area, I don't have to worry about too much traffic noise. Yeah, and I got smoke in my eye, surprise. I can imagine living in this bit of town, actually. Assuming I get a proper flat for good money, I'd move here. Joke is Berlin, so I'm not going to get a proper flat for good money in this part of town. I'm not going to get a proper flat for any good money in any part of town anytime soon. So I'm quite happy to stick with the flat I got. Yeah, apologies for not even looking at myself here. Hello. But eyelash in my eye as well, I believe. Additional to the smoke and the gunk I pulled out. Nice. I think I'll name this house How Can Society Function? And I do understand some people click these videos due to titles and they may feel misled, but those people are no longer watching, so thank you very much for watching my stuff. Oh, another tangent that came up with uni today, with some research I got to do in integrated production 2. It came up that apparently with TikTok, what all the youngsters do, authenticity is really not unwelcome, which I'm surprised by, because I thought all the shit was look here on my yacht, when people lease a yacht once in a blue moon and they take thousands of pictures or whatever. But apparently some people are genuine. I guess I should really look on the TikTok sometime. Then again, that might be a deep hole. I mean, I recently uninstalled Reddit and Instagram just because I was spending too much time. But I might have to look into the TikToks. This is amazing. I like how my eyes keep looking in the same direction even the head moves. It's like a chicken head, man. Ooh, look. I haven't heard back from my proposed thesis supervisor yet, and I'd need their blessing before I can ask the uni. But I'd really like to work with them. Like, I'm not going to be a high maintenance person, and I believe they know that. They'll just have to kick my ass once or twice, and I'll write a good paper, and they know it. Good thesis. But I'm hoping I'll have heard from them by the end of the week. If I haven't, I'm going to have to send them another mail, but at that point I'll have lost most hope of getting them, because I believe they are a very active person. And I know they have a lot of things to do, but I also know they usually check their emails quite frequently. And I sent it to both their private, their self-employed commercial email and to their uni email, because surprise, as a tutor at my uni, they do have a uni email. That'd be a major relief. I hope you too have major reliefs coming up. Stay safe. I'll see you around. I'll end it here. Bye bye.